Alright, you guys are gonna have to forgive me if I seem a little antsy or anxious in today's video. This might be the most excited I've ever been to review any car on my channel, and I've reviewed over 200 cars before. Today I have with me the 2020 Audi R8 V10 Performance Edition in this beautiful gray metallic paint with the carbon fiber effects package, not only on the exterior but also the interior. Now, this is not the most powerful car I've reviewed, it's not the fastest car I've reviewed, it's not the most expensive or the most comfortable car I've reviewed, so why am I so excited about it? Well, first of all, the guys here at Crown Audi in Clearwater, Florida are allowing me to drive this car, so that's always a plus. But second of all, you know, the R8 has always held a very special part of my heart. It's based on the same chassis and has the same engine as the Lamborghini Huracan and the Lamborghini Gallardo before that. So it's always seemed like a more attainable dream car than the Lamborghinis that I really wanted when I was younger. And for that reason, I've always loved the R8. I've always dreamt of driving one, and today, not only do I get to review it, but I also get to live my dreams out and go on a full test drive with this car. So stay tuned, make sure to watch till the end of the video, and let's get right into the review. Now, I'm sure most of you have noticed that for 2020, the R8 has been redesigned on the exterior and the interior, so it looks a little bit different than the 2019 models. But what a few of you may not have noticed is that this is the R8 V10 Performance Edition. So this is like the top of the line, highest edition of the R8 that you can buy today. And that means not only do we have those upgrades for 2020, but we also have some really cool new features and technologies all around the car that really set this apart from a base R8. Now, to start things off in the front end of the car, we've got a few of my favorite upgrades for 2020. As you can see, the whole front fascia has been redesigned. It's far, far more aggressive. It does look a little bit more like a Lamborghini to me, but it comes with that classic Audi Quattro style hexagon grille right here, right at the front of the car, showing off the brand's design language. Remember, this is essentially a flagship model for Audi. They're going to use this in a lot of their marketing, so they wanted to have that distinctive Audi look to it, and they definitely achieved that with this gorgeous gloss black Quattro grille. Now, a few other things we've got up here in the front end of this R8. This does have the gloss black package that adds gloss black on all the Audi and R8 badges around the car, and that makes it look a little bit sleeker and more smooth in my opinion. We've also got the carbon fiber package, which is a very expensive and will probably be a pretty rare option on these cars. So this front splitter up here is now in gorgeous gloss carbon weave. We've also got a really cool feature that does not come standard on the R8. It's these LED Audi laserlight headlights. Now, these are a $3,500 option on the base model. They come standard here on the Performance Edition, and they're essentially a really cool technology that makes use of lasers to help light up the road at night. So that is a very, very cool option to have. It seems a little bit excessive to me at over $3,000, but hey, it's an Audi R8, so why not? Now, drawing your attention along to the side of the car, this is where we can see the lines of the car coming into play. The smooth body just flows all around the car, and it really highlights probably my favorite feature about this particular R8. It's the paint. It's called, I believe, Kemora Gray Metallic or Kemora Gray Metallic or something like that. It's kind of similar to Nardo Gray in the shade, but out here in the sunlight, you can see it's got a lot of blue tint to it, and actually a hint of some really bright and sparkling purple. Probably the favorite paint I've seen in any new car in recent history. I really love the way it highlights the lines all around this R8. A few of the actual features we have here on the side though, again, we've got the gloss black package here with the V10 badge, more carbon fiber with this mirror cap and the classic R8 side blade. I'm also a big fan of these wheels. The car is available with either 19 or 20-inch alloy wheels. I love the 5-spoke gloss black design we have with this. Again, it kind of continues the gloss black and the blue and the carbon. It all fits together into a very nice, well-spec'd car. Now, the last couple of changes you're going to see in the car are in the rear. Obviously, a much larger vent area opening behind that V10 engine to allow more air to escape and improve cooling. It also looks pretty cool and is highlighted by 2 LED taillights. And again, these are redesigned for 2020, and they come with kind of a dynamic LED turn signal. That's what Audi calls it, and I'll give you a look at how that looks. Pretty cool. We've seen that on a few Audi models before. They've also upgraded the exhaust tips. In the previous generations, it was kind of a square design. It was kind of set in the bumper, a little bit harder to see. Now they are extremely large oval exhaust tips that are so big I could probably stick my entire head into them. And then the entire design is topped off with that gorgeous gloss carbon fiber weave rear spoiler right there that really, you know, caps off the design into just a fantastic work of art. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at that engine. All right, so just like the Lamborghini Huracan that it's based off of, the Audi R8 V10 is powered by a mid-mounted 5.2 liter naturally aspirated V10 engine, which produces 562 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque, making it one of the most powerful and fastest cars in its segment. It comes equipped as standard with the Quattro adaptive all-wheel drive system that obviously can vary the amount of torque between the rear wheels and the front wheels depending on driving conditions, and all of this comes together with a 7-speed transmission to accelerate the car from 0 to 60 in just 3.4 seconds. So like I said, not the fastest car I've ever driven, but I'm still very excited to see what this thing can do out on the road. Let's hop in and check out the interior before we do that. Okay, here we are in my somewhat decently, maybe attainable in a decade dream car. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it has been a while since I sat in the last generation or the last 2019 versions of the R8, so I don't really remember what those looked like, but I can tell that this has been updated with a lot of new technologies and features. To start off with though, it is actually very easy to get in and out of this car. The last exotic sports car I reviewed was the McLaren, the new McLaren GT. That is supposed to be a comfortable grand touring car, and one of its biggest flaws was it is insanely hard to get in and out of that car with the dihedral doors and the big carbon fiber chassis. It's just a pain to get in and out of it. And this car, actually stepping inside and outside of this car, it's high enough off the ground that there's no issue with that whatsoever. So even someone who's a little bit on the older side, as probably most R8 owners will be, you should not have an issue with this car like you would with a McLaren or maybe even a real Lamborghini. But that's enough of chatting about how to get in the car. Let's actually take a look at the design and the materials that we've got in this cool interior. Right away, I'm noticing we've got an Audi 3-spoke multifunction sports steering wheel. Now, unfortunately, it still comes with those flimsy, kind of cheap-feeling plastic paddle shifters that literally every reviewer ever has hated. And I'm gonna agree with all of them. They do feel pretty cheap, and they're pretty small compared to something you would get in an actual Lamborghini. But they are functional. You've also got a lot of really cool F1 style buttons sticking out at you here from this steering wheel that include the different drive modes for the car, the exhaust flaps, and of course that beautiful red engine start stop button, which we're going to be pressing in just a minute. The rest of the interior is filled with very soft leathers up on the dashboard, and this model actually comes with the available diamond cross-stitched red contrast sports seat. So this is the same seat design as you're going to find in the base model, but they've got this upgraded leather with the stitching on it. They are extremely comfortable. Again, maybe not better than the McLaren, but at least equal to it, and probably equal to anything you'd find in a Lamborghini. They are power adjustable, very aggressive side bolsters, but again, not too bad that it's hard to get in and out of. Just a great design all around. I'm actually a pretty big fan of this perforated leather they've put all around the steering wheel and on the gear shifter. It looks a little weird, kind of like a golf ball pattern, but it's very comfortable to hold, and I'm sure it's going to keep your hands very cool with all those perforations in it. And as I said on the exterior, this is a very special R8 because it's the Performance Edition, and it has the carbon fiber package, not only on the exterior, but also in the interior. So everywhere you look, there's this beautiful, shiny gloss carbon outlining just about everything in this interior. Now, one important thing that you may notice in the interior of this car is that there's no kind of set infotainment screen. Basically, every other car on the market today, you're going to find a massive screen right in the center console area of this car. Audi actually decided to do away with it, and not only does this clear up the interior and give you and your passenger more space, but it also, I feel, helps you focus on the most important part of this car, which is the driving experience. But obviously it's an Audi. They're just as much of a tech company as Tesla is, so they have included a very large 12.3-inch virtual cockpit. It is a digital gauge cluster that can display a customizable array of gauges, in addition to performance metrics such as a lap timer, a G-meter, and even Google Earth or Maps, depending on whether you need to be navigating or driving fast. And there are 2 USB charge ports and an auxiliary jack and a 12-volt power outlet and a wireless charger. And I'm sure there are a ton more things in this interior that I'm looking over, but I just can't wait any longer. I have to get this car out onto the road and experience what it's like to drive. Oh yeah. That is a sound I really like to hear. As usual, visibility is not that great for sports cars like this, but that's to be expected. That's just standard in this class of cars. Really the only other thing I have to compare this to, hey look, that's my 944. Really the only thing I have to compare this to is the AMG GTC Roadster that I drove. That car was very impressive, probably just as good, but again, the R8 is really my attainable dream car. The GT was great, fantastic car, but for me, I'm a bit of an Audi fanboy, so this is crazy for me. So we're actually on a little bit of a bumpy road that makes me nervous with this gorgeous paint, but the suspension is handling it pretty well here in dynamic mode. It's obviously more firm than what you would get in something else. It does feel a little bit loud and the throttle is pretty sensitive, but again, I'm in dynamic mode, so that's to be expected. All right, let's give it a little acceleration here. Did I say little? That was not very little. Take this turn here. The downshifts are beautiful too. I'm very used to a manual transmission car. I feel right at home here. The way the throttle is, it feels exactly like a manual car. You let off and it slows you down. It stays in gear and it downshifts very loudly, very obviously. It is a very fast transmission, but it does feel like a manual, but without actually having a manual, if that makes sense. If you've driven a manual car, you know what I'm talking about. It's not a very quiet ride. The suspension, you know, I say it's soft because I was expecting it to be painfully hard, but it's not terrible. You could live with this on a daily basis. Audi's done a great job of combining comfort and speed and luxury and all of it. I'm pretty impressed. I mean, what really else is there to say? It's everything I expected and then some. The sound, it sounds like a Lamborghini Huracan, which is crazy. The acceleration and the handling, better than the AMG GT, which is saying something. The AMG GT does have a little bit more exhaust to it, much more of a rumbly, kind of American muscle tone, but I do like the V10 and the R8 better. And I do believe the R8 is a little more expensive than the AMG GT, but oh my gosh, it is so worth it if you ask me. It looks better, it sounds better, it drives better, better visibility, more comfortable interior. Like, I'm sorry, the AMG is a fantastic car, but at the end of the day, I'm an Audi fanboy, and this is crazy. Make sure to check out all the reviews I've done of cars similar to this by either clicking on the screen right there or by subscribing to my channel so you get notified every time I upload a really cool video like this. And again, this review would not have been possible without you guys and without Crown Audi in Clearwater, Florida. They are hands down the best dealership I have ever worked with, so I'll leave a link to their inventory below. Make sure to come by and check them out if you're in the area. And as always, guys, thank you so much for being here with me on this journey and for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.